Hello, everybody, and welcome to the dojo. I am Mesa.
I'm Var.
I'm John.
And I'm Purple.
And this is Ninjago Cast, Masters of Pod Jitsu. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the dojo
And-
again.
Well,
Here
you
I
the
said
quiet
that,
one.
Gosh. I don't know, Var. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, so this week we're going to talk...
I was gonna make some joke about how we're not quiet by like yelling and stuff, but I didn't know what else to like say after that.
Man,
I don't know, Var. We're not that quiet. But, like,
sounds like you didn't really think through your joke, Purple.
I
your
mean,
bit.
I just said.
Sounds like you're not really good at making jokes, Purple.
Or
I mean,
bits.
I just said.
Sounds like you're not really good at.
Sounds like
Well,
you're not very
hello
good at
guys, and
listening,
welcome
Var.
back to Ninjago
Wow, aren't you
Cast,
the
where
rude
we we scour the world for Ninjago's next top model.
Ninjago's
I'm trying to do the
top
bit from
model.
Brainstorm, and I'm like trying to wait
How
until
about you
Mesa
come
comes
up with your
in
own
and saves
bit
the
instead of
entire
bits
thing.
must be
I did come up
original.
with my own bit. That was my bit. That
Yeah,
was
but your
the bit
bit was
that I
stealing
did.
my bit.
Okay.
Your bit was not original. My bits are original. You stole my bit by being.
Listen!
Don't tell me what to do.
Listen, Var! So,
Listen.
three things.
Listen,
Number one,
listen.
this is going to be a spoiler-filled video, and there's tons
Spoiler.
to spoil. So if you haven't seen episode 81, leave now. Second, this is going to be for episode 81, Game of Masks. And third, I'm suffering from crippling lag, so if I cut out, please finish the recap for me. Okay, so let's do this. Give me an epic music track to talk. The episode begins
No copyrighted music. Go.
with a grand flashback. One of the best scenes ever, featuring the birth of the Quiet One.
Guys.
It's an incredible scene, and I really don't have much to say other than that. We get to witness a flashback to the Great Devourer. Harumi's parents were killed while trying to escape with their lives. The elevator was full, and they send Harumi down the elevator to save her life. And Lord Garmadon gets all the credit, which will be important later on. But it's an absolutely masterfully done sequence.
It is literally the best sequence in all of
Best
Ninjago.
sequence.
I
all
think
of
like
it.
literally.
I actually had chills watching that.
Yeah. No. When I saw that, I was like, oh.
John put it very well on Twitter. He was like, Harumi has a better origin story in 2 minutes than most Marvel villains do in 2 hours. And I feel that's very appropriate.
I mean, to be fair, technically Harumi's origin stretches back to season 1, meaning she's got several seasons of TV shows an hour's worth of backstory. But
Well, no, her origin story. Her origin story actually took place
is connected
relatively
to
quickly.
season 1.
It's a very, very quick.
If you
overview of what she's been doing.
followed the Ninjago lore, you would know that it's connected to the Great Devourer's attack.
Hey, by the way, if you're
Season
watching
1
this,
very-
get me to 200 likes on that. It's at 193. Just need the.
That's really
little
cool,
push,
dude. Way to
little
humble
push.
brag.
That was not humble. That was straight
Yeah,
up
it was
brag.
just a brag. Yeah.
That was straight up just a brag. But yeah,
I was actually like, because Purple and I synced it. We watched it together, and I was like screaming at how dark it actually
He was screaming so loud, it was ridiculous.
it's a very
was-
dark opening.
It was really dark, dude. People die. People like straight
Well,
up.
actually,
Yeah,
it was
straight up.
like I was watching the episode on my own because I usually watch them when they first come out instead of waiting to sync.
We don't often
And I was
see
like-
blatant death.
Yeah, and I was like freaking out in chat because it was like, "Oh my gosh, this episode is so freaking good," and I'm only 2 minutes in. So then Var
Yeah.
joined, and I like rewatched the episode with him, and he was freaking out too. It was like, "Yeah." So
Yeah.
It was crazy, dude. It was,
I had to like you guys were freaking out about it in chat, and I was like away with friends, and I was like, I gotta watch this first 2 minutes when everyone's freaking out about. I don't know how it
It
could
was
be
a
possibly
great
that
2
good.
minutes.
And so like I excused myself. I'm like, I have to go to the restroom for a bit. And I put in my headphones. I'm like, I'm just gonna see this opening, and that's it. And I saw the opening. I was like, now I gotta see the rest of the episode. But I didn't because I couldn't be rude. But I
Wait,
would have. I
excuse
would have.
yourself
I would have.
where?
I would have said I was in the restaurant. I was actually in Steak and Shake.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, for the rest of the episode, it's juxtaposed with 2 different plot lines running concurrently. Lloyd and Harumi are adventuring through the Oni temple to get the mask, and then the ninja are being held captive, and they try to break free. And the two kind of go side by side. Lloyd and Harumi are bouncing around different obstacles, trying to crack into this temple. They find cave paintings of the Oni, I guess. Lloyd insinuates that they came to the realm of Ninjago and camped out and tried to find the first Spinjitzu master, which is an interesting little thing to explore later. But eventually they find the mask, and we have what is perhaps, if the flashback is the best sequence in all of Ninjago, this is easily second best, to me at least. We have 8 minutes of Harumi and Lloyd just talking, but it's so gripping. It's riveting conversation.
It's a really good scene.
Harumi's
It's a
identity
very,
gets
very good
outed
scene.
as the quiet one because she trips up a little bit and says something she shouldn't. Lloyd figures it out, and they have this back and forth where
She comments on
motivations-
Lloyd's blood as an Oni, which, to be fair, I still have no idea how Harumi knew that, because Lloyd is only told very recently by this one, the lady that runs a tea shop, right? Like that's the only reason he knows. I don't know how Harumi got the information.
Well, I'm assuming that she's
as well.
known for a long time. Like she's known before Lloyd knew. Like she was the quiet one the whole time. So she was operating this whole organization under the pretense of trying to get Lloyd to get the mask for her to begin with. So she obviously had to have known this information for a while.
Oh yeah, she would have needed Lloyd the whole time, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she would have. This whole thing was orchestrated to get Lloyd on her side. So she's known since the beginning of the season.
Well, no, I know she. I mean, she's known for a good while. I just don't know how she came across that information. Who besides? I guess it was like besides the tea lady. She is technically just a random tea lady, but her connection to Master Wu, kind of like, or Sensei Wu. I'm sorry, movie people. It's Sensei.
It's actually the other way around, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Sensei
Is
was
it?
the original master is the movie. They both
Yeah,
start with
that,
them.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry. Like movie people who think it's that way, it is actually Sensei. What I am,
Okay, gotcha.
what I was saying though is that like the tea lady seems to have some connection to Wu. I don't know how Harumi essentially came across as very critical information that no
That's a
one
good
else seems
point.
to know.
They might have found it from the same person, just at different times. Because all you need to know is that Garmadon is an Oni. They obviously found that out somehow because that's the basis for their entire plan.
Their entire plan of reviving him is because they know he's an Oni.
And then from there, it's like basic logic. Lloyd is his son, ergo.
So he
et cetera.
has
But it is an interesting thought how they found that out. Maybe they'll explore it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't think it matters too much. I think it's pretty easy to follow IMO. I think it doesn't seem like it's a kind of reveal that would have been this big secret that she couldn't have possibly known. I feel like they very clearly have this big like love for the Oni and trying to figure out what's going on there and reviving Garmadon. And I think they could have put 2 and 2 together pretty easily. So
When all's said and done, Harumi gets the mask of hatred, and it's played off much better in the show than in the magazine description talking about steel skin. She's just like, the mask of hatred, a taste of invincibility, implying that hate gives you strength, dark side, etc.
which is probably the most sense making of all the mask powers. TBH.
Sense making.
Yes, I agree.
Like the other two don't make any sense at all, but this one it's like, okay, I can see that hatred gives you like strength, it gives you invincibility, it makes you it fuels you with hatred.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She ditches Lloyd and leaves him to die in the flooding cavern, and he gets out somehow. I guess he just follows the current and gets ejected out.
Speaking of leaving Lloyd to die, she tried to murder Lloyd, like straight up murder Lloyd.
Wait, what?
There were
I'm
so
looking at.
many moments.
It's a miracle he's still alive, to be
She
honest.
literally has a knife in this scene, and she's like kind of like stroking
She's
his
ready
cheek,
to backstab him.
and like
She does
literally
it so many
is
times, and
stabbing.
it's great.
She once throws a knife right at Lloyd, and he has to catch it with like both hands.
There were several times during this episode where
She just, like-
I actually forgot I was watching a children's show. Like the opening was one of them, but like in this segment where Lloyd and Harumi are like going back and forth, and she literally pulls out a knife to stab him in the side. I'm like, what are we watching right now? This is dark
She's
stuff.
cozying up to him like, oh yes, you love
Dude, she
me.
she was a flirt this episode too.
Oh,
it is-
I know.
oh.
Listen, you gotta beware those crazy ones. I'm telling you, man. This is
Oh my
like
gosh. She was
Lloyd
very
not only
handsy during that scene.
Lloyd went through his first relationship and then his first breakup and his first crazy ex, and this is definitely his first crazy ex by
Yep.
far.
It is.
I know how it feels, buddy. I'm in there.
Yeah. So
She
many.
tried to kill me too. It was a whole deal.
What? What?
There was a knife. It got
There's
very
a story
heated.
here.
She put on the mask of hatred.
She put on the mask of hatred. She wanted to revive my dad. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like really crazy
I mean,
how
it
similar our
technically
stories
made her
are.
uglier, but honestly, I couldn't tell the difference. Ew.
So, yes. While all this is going on, the ninja managed to escape their binds by using the same song trick again, because it's worked so many times now. Why not again? Cole sings the
Of
song,
course, it does work.
and Babby Woo brings the keys, and they manage to
So
escape.
cute.
So the
Babby
song
Woo is
the song bit
cutest thing. I swear.
Baby Woo is adorable. The song bit, the glowworm song, that's getting a little old. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's
It's
the one
got
thing this
old.
season where I've been like, you know what? And I'm trying to be nice here. It's gotten real. It was old the time that like Cole was singing it in the
Yeah. I feel
Like,
like
that
it
was already, like-
past its welcome here. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yes, we were making great strides with Cole's character, and now it's just like, he's just the guy that sings a lot. It's like, sure, whatever. But that happens.
To be fair, at least there's a precedent for this character quirk on Cole, right? Singing. His
Yes.
dad is a singer, and
That is
everything,
true.
so it
You
makes
are
complete
correct.
sense. This is way better than his stupid food obsession that he had for one season.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree completely. It's just a little unfunny to me, but I imagine some people might think it's hilarious. So, to each their own. But eventually, Harumi escapes from the cave, meets up with the rest of the Sons of Garmadon, and the ninja have like the most awkward but intense but also hilarious standoff ever, where Kai holds a sword to Harumi's throat, and then the Sons of Garmadon hold swords to the ninja's throat, but then like Zane has his bow pointed at Mr. E, but Mr. E has the mask, and it's just this epic standoff.
It was a great
And then
standoff scene.
we have what is perhaps one of the best and also worst Kai scenes ever. Best because it's absolutely hilarious, and worst because it's so emblematic of what we talked about last week. He's like, you either give the masks peacefully, or we're gonna get up all ninja on ya. And she's like, what does that even mean? And he's like, I don't know.
No.
I was improvising. Usually Lloyd does the talking, but he's not here. So, where's Lloyd?
Hashtag where's Ray?
I loved the delivery from Vincent Tong in that scene.
He was
That was
great.
He did a very good
so
job, honestly.
funny.
It really brought back.
Great.
This is our redeeming Kai moment, guys, that we were
But
talking
at the
about.
same
last time.
time, it was an incredible scene, and it almost played as being self-aware, because Kai has been reduced to such a protagonist that he has to angrily
He can't
scream,
function
"Where's
without-
Lloyd?
without-
Where?"
It's so good, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good. I don't know.
Hilarious. But eventually, Lloyd comes back, and the giant crab monster appears and starts attacking them. And the thing is very unsettling.
Oh my
and
gosh,
very
that thing is freaky.
This thing is like
Yeah.
it's the stuff out of nightmares. I'm telling you.
It was also a really good scene, though. That it was very intentionally scary, and I think it really worked. I do feel like it's another one of those moments where I'm like, "Am I watching a kids show?" Because like that would have given me nightmares if I was younger. I think
Oh,
it's
I know, right? Like it's a
Definitely.
creepy looking beast, or it's not made out of Lego too. And like it's really
Yeah, it's always strange when you see something like not like living that's not made of Lego. It was like that in the very early seasons too. With I don't even know what they're called. Those like giant like snow creatures.
What are they?
Tree
Oh my
horns.
God.
Yeah, the tree
Yeah!
horns. Magic Ninja got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
those are
go.
creepy as well.
There was the
There's a-
tree horns, then there was the grundle.
Then there was whatever the heck was in possession. That weird, like, Yeti-looking thing from the Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah, whenever you've got these like non-Lego creatures, it's always really, really strange.
Very unsettling.
these abominations. So there is another awesome scene here as well, and that is there's this cool scene where all the ninja kind of like decide to just completely go nuts, and they all use spinjitzu, which they haven't used in a very, very long time. Or not
Yeah.
very, very long time. I think they used it a bit earlier this season, but like seeing all of them use spinjitzu with their elemental powers and everything, that was really cool.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Definitely. And then, Harumi and the Sons of Garmadon escape with the masks, and Lloyd has to do not air jutsu to get up to the Destiny's Bounty. And a very poorly thought out infiltration plan that just ends up with him getting captured. And then the episode kind of just ends there. The crab monster's still around. Lloyd's an idiot. The ninja have to fight it. And that is basically it. So
There
How
we
much you
go.
want to bet they're gonna fight off the monster in like 2 seconds and then continue
Probably.
on with the
Probably.
can
I mean, the
have-
monster's not a
I'm
main
sure they will.
antagonist.
no.
Okay,
Let's
so
talk about this episode.
Dude,
The
this was
one thing-
easily.
yeah.
What, John?
No. We'll keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Okay, I was gonna say this is easily the best episode of the entire show.
Yeah, honestly, like I've
This is
been
perfect.
struggling to figure out what my favorite Ninjago episode is for like the entirety of its run, but this is like yes, this is my favorite episode.
Never have I
This-
been so enthralled and captivated in a scene.
Yeah, it's the best episode featuring
Mhm.
the best villain within the best season of this entire show. This is like the top tier Ninjago right here. This was amazing. And like a complete 10 out of 10 episode for me. Every single aspect of it was incredibly entertaining and enthralling throughout, and all the plot developments that they're doing. It was so well directed, so well choreographed, so like the soundtrack
well
was
voice
spot
acted.
on.
Oh,
so
the
well voice acted.
soundtrack.
The soundtrack was amazing, and the voice acting was like Harumi's voice acting was especially really good.
Harumi!
Harumi did a fantastic job.
She's so cool.
She really nailed that like crazy like, but also like enthrall like kind of like
She's
I love you,
sympathetic
but you're
while
terrifying
also
at the same
being-
time kind of thing. Like she got those flirty moments down really well, but also
She
the creepy,
juggles so
insane
many
stuff.
emotions. The voice actress's name is Britt McKillop, I believe is how you pronounce it. Bravo. Bravo. You
Yeah.
juggle so many different emotions and so many tones in the span of just a few
Was she anyone else before? Like, was she like another character in something?
I don't know, it doesn't sound familiar, the name.
I don't recognize the voice.
Britt.
But I don't know. Yeah, she was amazing, and the music playing throughout that scene was also really great. I hope they release the soundtrack for this season soon.
They will, but like no time soon.
Like
dude.
5 years from now.
Yeah,
Oh,
honestly,
God.
like I don't even think all the soundtrack for season 3 has been released yet.
No,
Jeez.
I just saw on someone's Twitter that's like season 2 is getting released. One of the composers' Twitter. So
Good lord. All right. Well, we'll get it one day maybe. But man, the music was so good. It
music
really
was
worked in that scene.
amazing.
It was whenever like I noticed like it would like start and then it would go away. It would fade out whenever Harumi switches from being evil to back to like kind of
Yup.
like seductress Harumi, and she'd like get all hands on and stuff. But the second Lloyd realizes what she's doing and he pushes her away, the music starts up again, and it's like, oh my god, it's so good.
And it's like it's crazy too because that's Harumi's MO this entire time is like every time Lloyd's like, "Hey, isn't that kind of weird how you?" She's like, "Hey, kiss me." Yeah, let's she's like, she tries to distract him as much as possible as he's like
Yeah.
trying to going through and reasoning all this stuff that's actually really sketch about her.
It's great.
It's such a good sequence, dude. Oh my gosh.
And you know,
And
like
that
it has
knife.
this.
Whew.
Oh, the knife bits were so
The knife
good.
bits were so really good.
She
it's
was
such
so
a great
bloodthirsty,
weapon.
dude.
It's like she tried to shank him while she was like cozying up to him, and then later on she's just casually talking and then just throws the knife, and he has like. That's what I love
Yeah.
the most. That's my favorite part.
Yeah,
She-
you
she
really
goes
have
like,
to be on
"Flip."
your toes, just in a normal
And it's not like
conversation
it
with
wasn't spinning. That was the thing that I really loved. Sometimes in cartoons they'll throw a knife and it'll go like woo, 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 like it'll spin. When you actually throw a knife, you throw it like a dart. You're like, you're ready to kill. And she was ready to kill with Lloyd. Lloyd literally caught it like right in front of his chest.
Yup. And it also has to be said, credit does not just go to her, but to Sam Vincent as well, voice of Lloyd.
Yes,
the
he
scene
was
would not
very
have
good.
played the same if Jillian Michaels was in the role. His acting
No
sold
offense
it.
or anything.
No offense, it's just a very different kind of character. He's portraying aged up Lloyd very nicely.
Wasn't he
Dealing
also
with-
the voice of Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy?
No way.
Oh, he is. That's
Oh
where I
my
recognize
god.
that name from. You're absolutely right.
Who?
Double D from Ed, and Eddy. Ed, and Eddy. He's the
Praise
Ed
be
with two
Sam
Ds.
Vincent.
the one that has the hat.
Yes.
You watched Ed, Edd n Eddy, right?
No.
Well, I know what we gotta do.
We gotta watch
You're very
Ed,
much
and
an
Eddy,
Eddie, John.
Am
Yes.
You
Yes.
are.
I? What does that mean? Is that good?
He,
What are you saying about me?
then. Eddie's
is
not
just
really a great character.
focused.
He's just what?
He wants to get rich, that's all.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
His entire life revolves around getting enough money to buy candy. And like he scams the neighborhood kids with elaborate schemes.
He's
Oh,
not
man.
a good. You know, Eddie really is the villain of it. He really is.
I mean,
Anyway.
it sounds a lot like me. I ran little schemes like that when I was a kid. Wee boy, instead of watching Ninjago and awesome
Wee
cartoons. It's your wee boy here.
But yes,
yeah,
without a doubt,
episode.
the scene with Harumi and Lloyd was Ninjago top tier. And like so many things happened. They say, you know, the word died. I died that day too. And
They
she's
did
like,
say the word
Lloyd, I
died.
love you. You love me. And it's like these are things which Lego shows typically don't do. We've mocked them in the past for avoiding, you know, saying certain words that are deemed too mature.
I will destroy you. But
They
like,
did
this
what
time she was
she
straight
said.
up. She was like, "Yeah, no, I died that day. That was me."
But it really just goes to show in the very subtle ways Ninjago is aging up with the audience.
I saw a
Yeah.
tweet
much.
that was like this, like I'm gonna say 3 or 4-year-old boy who was like apparently had this crush on Harumi and was like super upset that she was evil now and threw his minifigure across the room because he couldn't stand to look at her anymore.
Oh,
I was like, oh, it was like it was so adorable. Hold on, let's see if I can find it.
That's the best thing ever.
little Lloyd here, going through his first breakup.
That's
I know. I was like, man, kids gotta learn heartbreak sometime. Like he's literally.
My
Hold
son
on,
is a
I'll see if I
little
can put the thing up.
distraught about Harumi, his Ninjago crush. Yeah. That's very upsetting. But also awesome.
Kid is like, this is at Spitfire of 2Ts on Twitter. But literally this poor kid went through his first heartbreak.
Yeah,
Aw,
get used to
poor
it,
kid.
kiddo. Life is a cruel place.
I think she, like
Never-
this.
Never trust your significant other.
It's a really it's an interesting Twitter account because
They
it's
could
run by
pull
like
a knife
a mom
on you whenever.
that likes watching Ninjago. I think. She talks about her kids often, but like also was like super into the show. She also posted this every tweet that was like, "My daughter is trash." There was actually all of her Sons of Garmadon ships.
Ships.
It's like,
Your trash
man,
ships.
it's pretty savage. But you know, when your mom's like schooling you on what your ships are, you know, you got to know. Ultraviolet and Cole, very interesting pairing
Oh
there.
boy.
All right,
That is a weird pairing.
Another
It's a very
thing I
good
gotta
pairing.
say, Harumi has a lot of good facial expressions too. The animators.
Oh, yeah, she does.
have her
she
be
does.
very
Yeah, she goes through
expressive.
like a nice face and then like a very evil face, very
She was
quickly.
very animated.
I've
very
got some
emotive
tweets
character.
lined up for Harumi right here.
Here's what I noticed about this scene. Actually, was that for me, this scene works really well, and I noticed that it's also very well directed. Like it's really well directed. Like the camera angles, where everything's placed, how it's paced, how the characters shift from this like evilness to this niceness and everything, and like it's just all around good. Especially when the camera starts like spinning around them. As you know, like
Yes.
as Lloyd is like kind of figuring out what's going on, and you have that camera spinning, and the music is just like going, and it's
It's
so
like the
good.
gears in his head are turning, so the camera is too. or
Also
whatever.
turning, yeah, it was really
love
well
it.
directed. So I looked into the director for this episode.
Oh boy. Who do we
Her
have?
name is Trilly Vilstrup. She's
Okay.
worked with Ninjago before actually, and I wanted to look at what episodes she had done in the past.
Okay.
And lo and behold, she did work on Hands of Time. She's the one who directed the episode where Wu and Garmadon are fighting against the Hands of Time.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Ooh.
also the one who directed the episode where Kai fights with his father.
Oh my god.
She's also the one who directed half of the episodes in Tournament of Elements,
So essentially,
including
okay.
the episode where Skylar reveals that she's a spy.
so everything great about Ninjago is
Yes.
thanks to this person.
Yeah, I was like
Please give her
tracing
a
back
raise, give her
I
a
was tracing back
promotion.
all my favorite episodes, and she was the one that directed them all.
Can you post how to spell her name in the chat?
Yeah.
Just so I can... Okay, thanks. I want to properly.
Like, yeah, a post like like IMDb account or something I can show on
Trilly Vilstrup. All right. Well,
screen because
bravo to you.
that's some really good filmography. That's like Rian Johnson level of like, oh wow, you're like he directed every episode I liked from Breaking Bad. And you're like, wow, that's really great. Except
Yeah,
Not Rian Johnson.
yeah, except not Rian Johnson because she did a good job this time
yikes!
when it mattered most.
Star Wars hate there.
Yeah.
Not Star Wars
Wow.
hate, Last Jedi hate. very specifically different.
That is
she has
incredible.
done a really good job. Then I'm looking at the Quarter of Elders, Pause and Effect, Line in the Sand. These are all fantastic.
A lot of the most
episodes.
memorable episodes, like Corridor of Elders was Garmadon's sacrifice when he died.
She has not been credited. Do you know how many episodes that she directed this season?
Huh.
I do not know.
Yeah, okay.
I'd have to go back and
That's a
look at
question.
the episode list.
One thing I was actually interested in is that a lot of the stuff that she directed was also well choreographed. And this season has been very well choreographed all the way around. I'm wondering if there's any correlation with that.
She directed wrong place, wrong time. The worst episode ever, but that was because of writing, not because of cinematography.
I don't know, I mean, you have some wins, you have some losses.
All right, well, listen. Every Rian Johnson's gonna make their Last Jedi.
She directed Curse of the Golden Master, which I thought was another particularly well done episode. It was the one where the Serpentine were revealed to have been like the good guys all along.
Yeah, I
and they
remember
retconned
that
the
one.
history
I
with
really
the
like that
Overlord's
one.
backstory and the lore about the Golden Master and stuff. So, bravo
so-
to you.
I just noticed like the directing for that episode was just really good. So I just had to look up who had done it. So I'm really happy that I did because I think she's got a good track record. I bring this person back, please.
Honestly,
Doing a
I
great
could talk.
job.
I could talk about the good things in this 8-minute sequence, literally for like an hour. It was Ninjago at its best. But let's talk about some other good stuff. Let's talk about that intro sequence. We only briefly touched upon it, but
there's one thing that I feel could have been done. So it's just a tiny thing for me that would have been really cool, and that is I wish it was the cold open. For whatever reason, they don't have a cold open this episode. This would have been the perfect place to do like cut to the title right after it's revealed.
You're right. Like they did exactly what they did with Zane.
Exactly. And like this would be another good reason for them not to have the weekend whip. Can you imagine like this little girl's parents have died and they reveal that she's the villain? And it's like jump up! It's like no,
kick back.
couldn't have worked.
Her backstory is interesting for a few reasons. It ties back to previously established Ninjago lore that people might have forgotten about, and also it is one of the only tragic backstories for villains we've ever gotten in Ninjago. Usually they're not painted as sympathetic whatsoever. Sometimes they're retroactively made that way, like with Moro, but his backstory was not meant to make us feel sympathy for him at all.
Well, Harumi has a great line where she's like, Lloyd, you didn't think no one died that day, did you?
You were
We're
naive.
so naive to think that no one got hurt that day.
And you know what? The reason why that works is because I was that naive. I was like,
I
that's great. I never even thought about that.
Hurt when the Great
This is some
Devourer
real
attacked.
this is Batman v Superman stuff where it's like Man of Steel, you see all the destruction, and then Batman v Superman, you see like Bruce Wayne run into the building and that little girl's parents.
Except it actually works because you're actually like connected to these characters and you understand their plight. And you didn't think that anyone got hurt there.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it work so well, because you, instead of, like, being like, duh, Lloyd, how come you didn't figure it out, you're with Lloyd. You're like, you know what, I never thought of that either. I honestly didn't really think when watching that scene that, like, there's probably people in that building that didn't make it out. And the fact that had consequences in this season, fantastic.
I love it so much.
So good. They play on the audience
quiet one
expectation.
line is haunting as well.
Oh, man. The quiet one line is the best line in all of Ninjago. If we ever do a top 10 Ninjago lines, spoilers, but that's going to be number one.
Chills, dude. Now, with every good, there's the bad. Time to bring up the quandary that people have. Harumi is Ninjago fangirl number 1.
Right.
How could there be a Green Ninja action figure? Because at the time when the Great Devourer attacked, Lloyd was technically the Green Ninja. He had not made a public appearance, unless I am mistaken on that. The only thing he had done was train on the bounty in his outfit, and then I think he did go and save the ninja from a jail cell because the Serpentine kidnapped them, and Lloyd snuck in and saved them. There was no time for Lloyd to be in the public spotlight.
Okay, all
Did
right.
people know him because he was the son of Garmadon?
Maybe, but not as the Green Ninja.
Not as the Green Ninja. All right, Hagman Brothers, Tommy Anderson, all the people working on the Ninjago story team. I'm going to offer this one free for you guys. this little like thing to get the canon back in order. So-
Maybe she just painted it green because it's her
Well,
favorite color.
Well,
Maybe.
no. Here's
But
what
I
I
have a
think.
proposed
I
theory
think
as
that the
well.
ninja were arguing about who's going to be the Green Ninja, and some fan heard it and wrote it down. And on this forum or on the YouTube video, they're like, "I have a new theory about there's going to be a new Green Ninja." And of course, Harumi's a #1 fangirl, and she went on NinjaTube and was like, "Oh, there's a Green Ninja coming out." And so she drew all the stuff, and then she painted one of her ninja green in anticipation.
I actually would buy that idea because they did have multiple public conversations about the Green Ninja.
about the Green Ninja and arguing who's going to be the Green Ninja, right? There was like I don't know, if you were a fan of them, that would definitely be.
You would pick that up.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that I have heard as a theory is that, and this is kind of an idea that I don't think they've addressed, but it makes sense, that ninja are a cultural thing in Ninjago, which you would think would make sense. Someone pointed out that the ninja action figures she has are apparently wearing like the hoods of like old school classic Lego Ninja, rather than the modernized versions used in Ninjago. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
That is
I
true.
mean, yeah, that is true. I noticed
That is 100% true.
It could be a reference to the fact that there are ninja that existed, if not in actual Ninjago realm, in pop culture and mass media
That's
before
true.
the ninja that we know.
They both have the same weapon, so they're not actually specifically based on the ninja we know. They could
Correct.
just be ninja toys. And I mean, like, if you think about it, this is a Lego world, right? So she's literally just holding generic ninja figures at this point.
Exactly.
There's nothing that ties them to Kai or Lloyd. That's a way simpler thing than what I was saying. So take that instead of mine.
Either
I'm
one
sorry,
works if you
people, I
choose to
let you
explain
down.
it.
Pig
Okay,
brothers, Dan
I
and
like
Kevin.
that theory.
I was thinking that, like, it is a little interesting that the first Spinjitzu Master is the first Spinjitzu Master, not the first Ninja Master. Because if he was, it'd be like, of course it's Ninjago, because the first Ninja Master came down and he created the world. But it's not the island of Spinjitzu, it's the island of Ninjago. So, sure, you know.
I looked up what other episodes that director had made for
boy.
this season. Not that many, surprisingly enough. She only did one other one. And it was the Oni and the Dragon.
Okay.
So it's
The
the one where we
backstory.
got the backstory, but it's
So
also the one.
The choreography is due to someone on the animation team supervising this. So whoever's supervising the animation team, especially with the fights, doing.
Well, this is
a
also
very
the
good
episode
job.
where we had the rooftop fight, as well as
And the
running
chase
down-
sequence.
The chase sequence, yes,
Right.
and the sequence where Zane and Cole split off. So this is also a very good episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you are. Aside from that, we already touched on the Kai thing. I thought it was hilarious, so it doesn't exactly make me irritated, but it is emblematic of the issues we touched on last week. But you know what? If Kai was that kind of character, I would be totally down for it.
I actually
Do more of that.
kind of disagree. I mean, like it does touch upon how he's been reduced in terms of importance to the group.
I feel like
but
that was intentional, though. I feel like that
Yeah.
was
Well,
meta.
yeah, like my biggest complaint was that I felt like he didn't have any dynamic with the rest of the ninja, and like he didn't really bring anything to the table. But like I actually kind of liked this sort of like
I did too.
I don't know what to do because Lloyd's not here kind
but
of.
I'm gonna
thing
try
that they had
hard
going.
it. Gotta fake it
Yeah.
till you make it.
It's actually the kind like it's almost classic Kai, or he's just kind of showboating. And
Yeah, it
exactly, faking it till you make it kind of thing. That we haven't really seen from him in a while. So I actually really liked the scene. I thought it was actually a step in the right direction in terms of his character.
I'd like
I
to
think,
see more of that.
Yeah, I think I would like to see more of this sort of like Kai is like I don't really feel like I don't have anything to add here because Lloyd is the hero and the good guy and I'm kind of just the dude.
It would be like if they was like, you know what, I haven't had to do this in a while, so Lloyd usually does this now. I kind of pass that mantle on to him. Where is he?
We're gonna go up on Ninja.
I would actually, you know what, that would be a good episode. An episode where Lloyd's just gone and the ninja have to figure out what to do without Lloyd because they've
gonna be
relied
next
on him so
episode.
much.
It'd be super meta too, where they're just kind of like, what did we do before he was around? Remember he was a kid? Remember he stole all that candy once?
What happened to that? What
Like,
do we do now?
yeah. No, they were like, what did we do? And then he was like, it was me. I was saving your guys' butts. That's what happened. I was the one carrying the team back then. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But what are you doing now?
Right?
Well played.
Came into the and lost all of her competence.
I would love to explore that stuff.
Yeah, that would be a great episode.
A
other
Kai
thing-
and Lloyd episode now that he's older would be a very interesting one. I feel a good dynamic.
Yeah,
where
because
Kai's
another
like,
plot point they dropped is like Kai and Lloyd being like kind of these brotherly like duo like thing. Because Kai was always kind of the elder brother to Lloyd in the
Yeah.
original.
And it was a
season.
dynamic.
It was a good dynamic that they've now completely dropped since Lloyd aged. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, even before that, I felt they dropped it. Like Lloyd has aged, but his voice actor age, the change happened this season. But even before that, they were dropping that thread that like
Kai used to be like Lloyd's big
I-
brother and his protector.
I meant when he actually like aged up. Like when he
Oh,
became
like the
Green
time
Ninja.
travel? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like ever since he became the Green Ninja, they kind of dropped the whole Kai is his older brother sort of thing.
They brought it back in Possession, which we never fully watched.
I have not actually seen all Possession, so that's
go back and watch
and
it.
I feel bad when we're talking about the show, and I'm like, I haven't seen everything yet. But it's a lot of seasons. I do plan on
Possession's the only
rewatching it
season
this
I
year.
haven't seen.
I haven't seen Possession and Skybound.
Well, there you go.
You should watch
So.
Skybound.
Skybound was awesome right up till the end.
The ending. Of
Another
Skybound was
thing-
trash.
The crab monster. We already briefly touched upon it. Very unsettling
So creepy.
in a good way because it's creepy. It served its purpose very well, but it's just another one of those things. Like it is weird in the show when it's not Lego. I don't
It
really
is
know
very
the solution to that because if it was Lego, it probably wouldn't have been as creepy.
Well, yeah, no, I
But-
think it works. I don't think it's a problem. I just think it's really scary. Like it's kind of creepy looking.
It
definitely
does
kind
take
of gives
me out
you
of the show a little bit.
nightmare. Does it?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit.
honestly, it does.
It
Every
doesn't take it
time
out.
one of the creatures shows up, it's always like, oh, here we go again. A weird looking Ninjago creature. But at this point, it's almost become a staple. There have been so many of them.
I guess I'll have to disagree there because I
All
definitely
right.
don't feel that. It doesn't take me out at all. I think it helps honestly that they're so like freaky
Interesting.
looking and strange and otherworldly.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I actually really like that.
Different perspectives.
Yeah, I know different strokes for different folks.
And then lastly, Lloyd's stupid not plan and not
So,
using
okay.
Genjutsu.
Here's the thing, like I understand up until this point the writers are like, no, we don't want to use this power or that power. We want to like we don't if we have to a chance to show him something new. This one he literally uses spinjitzu to fly, and it's like, okay, buddy, at that point someone should have addressed why they can't use their jitsu anymore or
He
something.
goes through this giant elaborate thing where like Nia makes
Build
like
me a
water
ramp. Right.
and Zane freezes the ramp, and then like he launches.
But like
onto
it's
it
literally the
with
same
spinjitzu.
thing.
It's
That's what
elaborate.
Erjitsu is.
It's like
Or just-
how
it's
hard
like-
how hard would it have been in that one scene to just have him use Erjitsu and just to show that he could still do it. Like,
Well, no, I mean,
have
like
people
I
forgotten it?
understand too if like there's a canon reason as to why he can't do it. Like Tommy Anderson is writing Way of the Departed, right? And they're
Yeah.
in there. There's supposed to be a reason why they can't use Erditsu anymore, which is great. But like whenever
It's
you
done
do a
after
thing
the
like
fact.
this, that it can't be supplementary material. I feel because it was such a huge point in the show, and a whole season devoted to it. And now there's a situation where he literally goes out of his way to not use Erjitsu on something that's
Yeah.
basically exactly the same thing. You know,
And let me
It's like-
clarify, this is a very separate instance to what we were talking about last week, where it's like the ninja are surrounded. Why can't they use spinjitzu? Well, they did fight. They did attempt to fight them off. This is very different because he has to jump through hoops to justify his inability to not do it. There's a very
Right.
prolonged scene of him doing something that almost is filler, just to kill a few seconds of time or make it look super dramatic.
Well, they go out of their way to not use Erjitsu, and in an animation that's literally Erjitsu. So like, I don't know, when you don't explain that in the show, that's when it starts to get, like all the other stuff I can get for narrative tension, right? Why don't the ninja just use all their M1 abilities? Because the fight would be over when you have an entertaining episode. I get that, like as much as I complain about it a little bit, but I understand narrative tension. But we're seeing him use Erjitsu. Essentially, that's what we're seeing him on screen use.
I guess their counter to that, if pressed, would probably be, well, if he could do it, why wouldn't all the other ninja go up with him?
Which is
I don't know. Why didn't they?
that's the whole thing, though. The story is creating this whole thing where Lloyd is the only person that can go up there. In that case, you have to explain why can't they all use this power that they totally had a couple of seasons ago, that hasn't vanished for that's never been explained or seen again in the show.
Yeah.
Also, alternatively, they, regardless of whether it was Airjitsu or Spinjitsu, they could have all gone up there to follow him either way. And
Yeah, I know. It's
You're
like
right.
that. It's not like they all used their elemental abilities to launch him. They could have all gone up the ramp as well. He could have been like, "Follow me, guys," and they would have been like, "Oh, sure. We just used Spinjitzu a second ago."
Totally. My
And it's
one
Void versus
other...
everybody too. You would think that their whole thing would be like, "Let's get away from this monster and to fight
Go
everyone
fight
on
the actual
ship."
villains. But no, I guess not. My one final issue, if I had to say it, this might be something that only I feel because nobody else seems to have pointed it out. The voice filter on Harumi when she put on the mask.
Yeah,
I could have done without it.
I'm not a huge fan of that.
I
one,
feel like
to be honest,
she was the... Maybe it's because Mr. E hasn't spoken, but I didn't think Killo's was as severe as hers was in that brief moment he spoke to Mr. E on the bike chase. She really had a filter put on, and her actual voice is good enough. She can be threatening. I would have much preferred hearing those lines without the cheap sounding...
It's an emotional
I-
scene. It's an emotional scene, and it's a little undercut by how weird her voice sounds.
I think
But
the
not-
voice
not
was
that
just
bad.
kind of modulated wrongly. Like I would have instead, because they tried to make it deeper and more monstrous. I would have actually gone like higher pitched and more like insane, like crazy, like get some like crazy laughter in, because she can really pull off the evil laughter thing.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
have done, I would have done more of that type of villain,
Because
more so
the
than,
hatred is making
I'm
her-
a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have gone more.
The Mask of Monsters.
Like Ultraviolet.
Yeah, maybe like
Ultraviolet's
ultraviolet, but a bit
useless.
more like it would be scarier. Like not. I would
Sinister.
hope that it would sound scarier, not hammy. But
Right.
Oh yeah, can we also talk about how our actual end goal? We haven't even mentioned this. She actually like believes she's the good guy. In a sense, she's like, Ninjago's my home too, and like the Lord Garmadon saved the day. He saved everybody, and I'm gonna bring him back, and we're gonna rule Ninjago the right way and bring it back to glory. Because all you and Ninja just let people die. But then when she puts on the mask, it slips, and her actual feelings come out, and she's like, I'm gonna bring your dad back, and I want to watch him kill you. He's gonna have no
Yikes.
soul, and I want him to crush you with his own two hands. It's like,
I mean, that's what it is, right? Like she,
Harumi's
yeah,
the best villain.
she's a really complex villain. She's got these two motivations. Well, she's got a true motivation, and it's pure revenge. But
Right.
she's tricked herself into believing she's got like a just cause that she believes. in,
Yeah,
and
she
it's
like
all
she's
good.
she
Like, to
believes
protect
that like
the Ninjago, I had to wear a mask.
This
I
is
had to
this is the
suppress my
opposite.
feelings.
So like Skylar was a redeemable character when like she had this, you know, she was doing the wrong thing, but she, you know, she was coerced into it. She had all this stuff like added on to her. She was still a good person deep down doing the wrong thing. Harumi is almost the opposite, where it seems like she is a really bad person and she's trying to convince herself she's doing the right thing, but really she just wants to see people suffer. And I like
Yeah.
that there's a dichotomy to her.
I'm
where,
curious if they will attempt to redeem her or not. Like
I
when
hope not.
Garmadon becomes like the main villain, which hopefully he will be. I think that's what they're building towards.
I think that's what they're building towards. Yeah, but I hope not. I hope she stays
same.
bad. But I also hope they don't just get rid of her too.
This is one of the strongest, in my opinion. Not like, yeah, no, hands down. Harumi is the strongest, possibly the strongest character in Ninjago overall. Definitely the strongest female character ever in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I would rather see her perish, honestly, other than instead of her being redeemed. I think she works perfectly as a villain,
And
I
then she
think she's
comes
the type-
back as
she-
a ghost.
Oh god.
She is the type of villain that I think would die for her cause too, versus some of the other ones. So.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a killmonger. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
So there's a really great comment here in the YouTube chat that I felt like pointing out.
I saw the exact one. It's is it Nova Glitch
It's
Boss?
by Majestic Sushi Films. He says,
Never mind.
"I just
Great-
farted."
great name. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was talking
JK.
about Nova Glitch Boss, who said, "Where's Pixel? I'm starting to get worried."
That's
a
not
really
what I was
good
talking
point.
about.
She just
Where
completely
is
vanished.
she? Where is Pixel? I don't know.
Listen, we
I
only
never-
have one room for 2 females at a time. We can't have 3. That's
we
starting
have
to get a
2
little
female
too much.
quota. We can't break
Dude.
the Bechdel test all too much.
I am spooked. Honestly, I never even gave the faintest thought to where Pixel was. I forgot she existed. The last
yeah, I
we
did
saw
too.
her, she was fighting Kilo off screen.
Yeah, all the ninja are captured, but Pixel isn't here.
What happened to her? Wait,
She
whoa!
dead?
That's a great point. What happened?
Hashtag
Well,
worst
Continue,
pixel.
Aldier.
Have fun, big samurai.
No,
axe.
I bet you she snuck aboard the ship. She's hiding aboard the ship somewhere. She's gonna help Lloyd.
Probably.
Oh, she's still there. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's still
I
there.
forgot about her. That's
I know,
The comment I actually wanted to point out was from Snowy Rocks 22, who brought up the point that we haven't
I
mentioned.
recognize that name.
We haven't mentioned the art contest yet.
Oh
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I won.
You didn't.
Well, in all fairness, Purple, you drew an actual drawing. And
They were looking for kids drawings.
They were looking for kids drawings,
Yeah.
definitely. So, but
For those who don't know, that was the
Make
art
clear.
contest designed to draw pictures of the ninja to be used in a future scene. We now know what that was about. Harumi's fan drawings.
man, what a great way to have your artwork featured in such a powerful scene. Like if Tom,
Right?
if he had said like, hey, we want kids to be featured. I remember the tweet was like, there's a fan of Ninjago, and they have some drawings we want you to see. Not like, oh, there's a fan in Ninjago. We want your drawings to be over the scene where her parents die and she's being consoled by.
I never would have guessed that was the purpose of that contest, but it's so
Yeah.
awesome.
I was
It's
expecting
just
it
a
to be
great-
Nelson, I think. or
No, he's
whatever.
done.
It was
Purple
expertly
Ninja?
integrated.
Yeah, just really like it showed how much she like originally cared for the ninja, and now she's like hates him forever.
Yeah.
Plot twist: she's a ninja. She won her. She liked the original ninja, the Lego ninja, but these new
She
ninja
wasn't a
are
huge fan of Lloyd. She's like, man, his
No.
voice is so squeaky. What's up with that?
kind of a Gary Stu.
Someone did like point out that Harumi's age is a little interesting because she's a young girl and during the Great Devourer scene.
Oh, interesting.
And now she's an adult, kind of, and she's like essentially
But
dating
she's the
Lloyd.
same age as Lloyd.
Yeah, I mean, like it's implied, but she has to be
Lloyd
younger.
was kind of a kid too.
Yeah, but he was
How-
aged up.
How old was he aged up? Do we ever? Well, I guess that's a dumb question. We don't even know how old the ninja are. Of course, we wouldn't.
We don't even
how-
know. Well, okay. Well, he's aged. He's aged multiple times, right? So he was a kid. He was aged up to a teenager, but he was still younger than everybody else, despite being aged up. And now he is like the same age that the ninja were at the start of the season.
I think it's conceivable that she could be just like 1 or 2 years younger than him. You know?
Yeah,
Possibly?
I think because like it's easy to forget how big a difference is between young ages. Like a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old look completely different, despite only being
It's
2
true.
years apart. You know,
Right.
like an
right.
8-year-old and a 13-year-old look completely different, even though they're not. That
So
far
Lloyd could be
apart
like
in age.
18 and she could be like 16. And then like when
Yeah.
they were during this, well, in the Great Devourer
It's like-
scene though, how old is she? Would you say at the beginning of this scene? Like 8?
According to
Maybe
Magic
10?
Ninja, the contest said that she was around 8 to 10 years old. Which
So if
would have
she's
been around
10,
the same
Lloyd would be
age.
12. Okay, you know what? That actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it
And
kinda
then,
makes
like,
sense.
And then now he would be. How old is Lloyd now?
So
What do
like
you say?
16.
16, 17.
I would say 16. I would
She's
say
4
16 is probably.
Man,
the
this
age.
14-year-old running a secret organization. That's some
Great.
Azula level stuff.
Yeah, dude.
She does remind me a bit of Azula a lot.
Azula is freaking 14.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous to me.
Well, it is. It
Yeah.
is a
Anyway.
big plot point as to how young she is. So like, yeah, totally. I buy that, and I buy Harumi as well. Harumi is. She's
Best character.
my best. Honestly, she might be my favorite character in all of Ninjago. Best villain.
Oh, she absolutely is my favorite.
Best. Yeah, I just like everything about her was so well written, and the very
The
powerful.
delivery helped a lot, and the animation helped a lot. There was one more moment I wanted to point out, and I just love it, because for the briefest of moments, when the crab monster comes out, they kind of unite the Sons of Garmadon and the ninja, because like, okay, well, we gotta fight this thing off. But there's this awesome moment where Killa is like, what is that thing? And like, Harumi and Lloyd just kind of look at each other, and she like raises her eyebrow, and he's like, yep, it's back. And they're like, yeah, we know what this thing is. And I'm like, nice, one last moment of mutual understanding.
I
So
do
just
think
put
they
our
might all
differences aside.
end up fighting against Garmadon. That might be like a thing that'll come in later, where they're all teaming up again, because they do seem to be a pretty decent team at this point.
It depends on the angle they go with Garmadon, which I'm very interested in seeing. It's going to go one of two ways. Either he's going to come back and there's going to be the whole inner conflict thing again, where it's like, oh, can I hurt my own son? Or what they've been saying is true, and he's just going to come back and have no soul and just be a complete monster, Sons of Garmadon included, and then yes, they'll need to
What if
unite.
he goes to Ninjago City and destroys another building, and some other little girl's there, and then he's like,
Oh, come
No.
on.
what have I created? The cycle. It's
What
just
have
a
I
cycle
done?
of hurt. It just keeps going.
Essentially, yeah. So it's going to be interesting what they do with him. I think we only have 3 episodes of this season left, which makes me cry.
Prentice brought up an interesting point where he said, was he 12 before being aged or after?
I would say after.
Yeah, I would say, okay, so here's what I would say. I would say that Lloyd and Harumi are the same age, actually. Like, if we were going by their actual ages, they'd be the same age. However, Lloyd was aged up like 3 years.
Yeah.
Or 2
So
years.
if Lloyd was like a 9-year-old, and he was or a 10-year-old aged up 3 years, he's 13, boom, he's a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. And he was only a teenager. Yeah, he was aged up from a kid to a teenager to become the Green Ninja, and then he aged normally since then. So now he's like 16.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, like, I guess he must be a bit of a late bloomer. I don't know if the time travel messed up his puberty a little bit, but that's why his voice broke so late.
Yeah. Poor Lloyd, he's been through the ringer.
Well, I mean, his voice only, like, sometimes your voice doesn't change until you're like 16 or 14.
That's true. Like, so I had my voice change twice, where like it dipped a little bit, and then like it really like you can actually listen to the podcast. You can listen to the podcast and kind of hear that. Like everyone's voices is a little higher pitched, even though we're all like
I think
the first episode where my voice dropped was hilarious. It was super squeaky before.
Yeah, I think that lines up pretty well. If Lloyd is 17 but mentally 14, Harumi would also be 14. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yes.
And 14's I can accept that age as
the criminal mastermind age.
Yeah. When I was 14, I was totally just in high school. It's the same thing.
All right.
Well, I mean, listen, when you were 14, we started a company.
It's true. It's true. So
it's
fair enough.
Company,
a criminal organization. Really, is what it gets down to.
Overall,
yes, a criminal organization.
Was it flawless of an episode? No, there were a few little nitpicks here and there, but it was definitely my favorite episode of the show.
I think when you put it like that, it sells it too short. This is my favorite episode of Ninjago.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like kind of like say, I mean, obviously, sure, no episode is completely perfect, but this was as close to perfect as I've ever seen.
I haven't been this invested ever. And
there's not a single thing that I hated, so it was perfect for me.
You know that's awesome when you watch something, especially a Lego show, but like you're on the edge of your seat, and like it was just a perfect combination of everything: the characters, voice acting, cinematography, music, the actual plot going on, the well-written dialogue, the motivations, and a little bit of cool fight choreography with the knife and stuff. It all kind of culminated together. So I'm really curious to see where this season's gonna
just seeing them all do the elemental abilities again, where they're all like they all take on the forms that you really haven't seen in a while, but the effects are so much better this time around. Especially Cole's tornado, his earth tornado or whatever. There's like lava mixed into it now, and it's really awesome compared to like the first bits of what we used to see with Spinjitzu.
Definitely.
But Var, you made a point earlier today when we were watching the episode where you're like, it's cool to know that you're watching the best season of Ninjago as you're watching it.
Yeah. I was just like saying a little bit before. It's like, oh yeah, you always like think back and you can think, oh yeah, that was the best episode or that was the best season. Like we can think back on Tournament of Elements and be like, that was the best season Ninjago I had to offer. But at the time, you didn't really know it. But it's cool knowing now, like while watching each episode, being like, this is the best season that we're watching right now. We are enjoying the best that the show's ever had right now. Cool
I feel bad for all the hate. Both the Hagmans and Tommy Anderson, all the team got a lot of hate at the beginning of the season because people were like upset that so much change had happened. That Lloyd had a new voice actor and that the ninja had different designs and like all this.
I mean, listen, it's been like
better in every way.
It's been like
literally
a year
better
now.
in everything.
It's been like a year now, and people still hate us for Shiwa. So I mean, hate kind of happens.
It's true. No, like people don't like stuff when they change, even though there's a good reason behind it. And every change they've made for Sons of Garmadon has been the better change. The designs are all better. The voice actor, the new song at the beginning, new intro, all of it has been absolutely fantastic. So if you are listening to this, anyone who's worked on Ninjago, don't listen to the haters. You literally did the best thing you could have done for this show, and it's way, way better. Thanks for sticking to your gut and not listening to the the younger kids who haven't gone through this before.
Speaking of younger kids, Baby Woo was so cute.
I
Oh,
hope they
baby
keep-
Woo.
I know they're not going to, but I kind of wish they would keep Woo as a baby because he's just so adorable.
Someone should have a kid. They should they should do a never age up, and then like someone has a kid, and then they just have the kid around.
Yeah.
Like imagine there's a never time skip, and then like with we're talking like the hypothetical season with the new ninja, and like it cuts to like Jay and Nia who've been married finally for a while, and they have a little baby, and they're doing they're fighting as a couple, and then also the baby's there, and they have to find a babysitter and all this great stuff. It'd be great. It's writing itself, honestly.
Glorious.
It'd be cool. My ship is
So
not trash.
Prentice asks in the chat, what if it gets better? Is that even possible? Well, I'm gonna end this episode with a quote from the Hegman brothers on Twitter. The most powerful Ninjago episodes are yet to come. Glad you fans are finding the show and digging it. So we might have better stuff coming.
Oh boy.
Possibly.
I texted
no
you myself.
until proven otherwise.
Yeah, like obviously they're not going to be like, oh, by the way, hope you guys enjoyed the episode because the rest of them suck. So
It's all downhill from
it's
here.
all downhill from here, buddy. We're not going to say that, but they have really killed it with this season, and I'm really excited to see what comes next from them. Both this and the next season as well. If they're able to keep up this tone, if it's very well received, and the way I hope it is, I really hope that they are able to completely take this to its logical conclusion.
All right. With that being said, this is going to be the end of episode 81, Game of Masks review. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below, or the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com, or
Yeah, there's like a whole Ninjago sub-board thing, so if you want to talk about Ninjago with people, go there.
or tweet to Tommy Anderson or the Hagman brothers and give them some positive encouragement. Send the love, because yeah, it's deserved.
Oh, and check our channel for some new Ninjago videos. We have a really interesting one about sending us your trash. So you should totally go see that. Send this to your Ninjago ship.
Indeed. See you all next week. Farewell. I am Messinac.
I'm Var.
I'm John.
And I'm purple.
And the dojo is now closed. This was Ninjago Cast.
Farewell.
Goodbye. I'm playing the outro, so we're just kind of like we're all just chilling until the thing is over.
Nice. Yeah. Hi. Chill.
Yeah.
Dude, the Game of Thrones song actually synced up perfectly with that. That was perfect.
It was really good. It was really good.
It was perfect. Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
yeah. It was,